This week on Falcon Fever, Montevallo's soccer teams both finished with winning records. We interview four-year starter Taylor Gonzalez on her time with the Falcons.
Volleyball wraps up their season this Friday. The Falcons look to wrap up their first year back in the Gulf South with a memorable senior night.
And it's that time of year again. Basketball season returns to Trustmark Arena. Falcon Fever starts now. Welcome to Falcon Fever. I'm Alex Tejada.
And I'm Elizabeth Reinhart. Coach Bruce Dieterle's men's soccer team finished with a winning record of 9-5-4 and advanced to the semifinals of the Gulf South tournament.
The Falcons lost to four-time champs West Alabama by a 1-0 score on Friday. Montevallo won the quarterfinal at home last week at Varsity Field. Gulf South Freshman of the Year Cesare Marconi scored both goals in the win over Christian Brothers. The Italian finished with a team-high 10 goals, which ranked him second in the conference and helped him earn first-team All-GSC honors. Teammate Liam Moore was named to the Gulf South Conference second team after a season of 5 goals and 4 assists. Robert Lane's women's soccer team achieved a first winning season since 2008 after finishing with a 9-6-2 record.
Montevallo has made progress in each of Lane's 3 years in charge and have had a mainstay in midfield for the past 3 seasons. Last season's top goal scorer and this season's assist leader, Taylor Gonzalez, finished her career with 13 goals and 8 assists during her time with the Falcons.
Today we have Taylor Gonzalez, the Overland Park, Kansas native, who was a 4-year starter for Montevallo's soccer team in the past 4 years. Taylor, how was your time at Montevallo?
It was great. I mean, I would definitely not trade it for the world. It was an amazing experience from year one, obviously winning 1 game, to this past year, my final year, having a winning record. It was an amazing experience. Wouldn't trade it for anything.
How different was it playing for one coach and then having a new coach come in and bringing in his crop of players? How did you adjust between the coaching changes?
I definitely say that for most people, that would be a weird adjustment to have, but I think for us, we all bought in as a team from day one and we sold out, and I think it paid off. There wasn't ever a real hitch in the transition from coach to coach, and the new players that kept on coming in, I mean, they helped the team get better. So at the end of the day, I don't think that there was ever any discrepancies with that at all.
It was your first season in a new conference in the Gulf South. What were the major differences changing from the Peach Belt to the Gulf South?
I definitely say that the Gulf South is actually more physical. The Peach Belt, you did have your physical teams with Armstrong and North Georgia and sometimes Columbus State, but with the Gulf South, you came out every single game expecting a battle. And then not only that, but the talent disparity in the Peach Belt where you had Columbus State, North Georgia, and Armstrong, and then you had the bottom teams in the league. Then with the new conference, the Gulf South, everybody is like a top 2 team. They're all a lot like Armstrong or those higher level Young Harris teams, which are all stepping up. So every game you come in knowing that you have to play well in order to get a result.
Last year you led the team in goals, and this year you led the team in assists. Any particular game or moment that stands out to you as like a highlight?
Lander last year for senior night, that was definitely, I think for me, my most statistically significant game. But for me, this past season, I would say that the West Georgia win in overtime, that was probably my most memorable one, both on the score sheet and then just the result as a team.
Y'all got back to having a winning season this year. Were there any personal goals or team goals that you didn't quite accomplish here in your time, or do you leave with no regrets?
This season, we definitely had the goal of reaching double digits. We obviously didn't make that. We missed out by 1, but the way we grew up as a team, the way everybody seemed to improve game after game, it made it all worth it. Now, for me, individually, I wanted to be in double digits for both goals and assists. That didn't happen, but I was pleased with the way I played. I felt like I finally got to grow up as a player and I got to play with people around me, and seeing it all come together as a final product on the field, that made everything worth it.
So now that the Montevallo career is over, how do you plan to move forward in other sports, or do you plan to take soccer to the next level?
It's a combination of both. So right now I'm committed to running track here in the spring. So indoor season starts in December, then I'll carry it out through the rest of the spring. But the goal is still to play professionally overseas. That's been my goal since, I don't even know how long, since I was little, since I started playing the game. So right now I want to use track as a means to stay fit, and then also working on soccer on my own, making sure that I'm improving in areas that I need to improve so that way I can increase my chances of going overseas and making a career out of soccer.
During your time at Montevallo, what made you grow the most as a player and as a person?
What made me grow most as a player and as a person? I would say having to step up in a leadership role at a very young point in my career. I mean, as a sophomore, even as a freshman, you're not really expecting to step into these huge shoes that you have to fill, but I was definitely thrown into that. And at first, it was kind of a trial and error thing, but it made me grow up, and I think it definitely helped me become the player that I am now, helped me impact as many players as I could, whether they were recruits or whether they're current girls on the team.
All right, thank you, Taylor, for your time and a fantastic career here at Montevallo.
Awesome, thank you.
Coach Katie O'Brien's volleyball team concludes their first season back in the Gulf South this Friday on senior night against West Georgia. Last week's Gulf South Player of the Week, Christy Bohan, will play in her last game. She leads the team with 294 kills on the season, and her .309 hitting percentage and 91 total blocks are both fifth best in the conference. As much as the team will miss Bohan, two freshman hitters have emerged this season. Amanda Nugent and Evelina Turan have over 200 kills each. Bree Bloom has a team-high 45 service aces, and the Falcons will hope she has a big game on Friday in their final match of the year. Montevallo Hoops are back underway.
Coach Danny Young's men's basketball team opened their season this past weekend in the Small College Basketball Hall of Fame Classic. The Falcons play in this weekend's GSC SIAC tournament in South Carolina before the Rams Rising tournament in Albany, Georgia. This past weekend, the Falcons were led by Chris Williams and Jeremiah Curtis, who scored 27 and 18 points respectively. Montevallo plays their first home game on the 22nd against Carver College.
This Friday, Coach Stan Van Atto's women's basketball team opens their season against Miles College. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching. I'm Elizabeth Reinhart.
And I'm Alex Tejada. Join us next time.